I have some concerns that I'd like to share with the Finance Committee members. And the first is basically the budget director, and I'm talking to Joe, the kind of information that we have available to us. I prepared an op-ed piece for Sunday's paper under my name, not under your name, setting forth what I think the reasons are that we need a police and fire levy or a raise in revenue. It is going to be running Sunday. And when I spoke to Gail Beck, who's the editorial director of the Rep, she raised some very good points. And we really need to have our information, I think, first for your benefit, all the information that's available through the budget director. And secondly, to present that to council as a whole, and ultimately to present that to the people. The worst thing that we can do is not have all the financial information that we're going to need to go out to our community to explain to them why this is so critical for the well-being and the future of our city. If we are asked questions for which we have no answers, we're going to look bad, number one. And number two, the public will look at us and say, why do we need this? I mean, I've asked a good question and it hasn't been answered. For example, we need historically, I think, Director, and I'm just giving these as examples. I hope you will think of some other ones that we can ask our budget director to provide the information for. How many employees did we have 10 years ago? How many employees did we have 5 years ago? How many employees do we have today? What are the benefits that our city employees were realizing 10 years ago, 5 years ago, today? Where are our funds actually going? The public has a belief, and I think Gail expressed it very well. The public has a belief that they work in private sector business. They don't have the benefits that our city employees have. And therefore, why should the public support that kind of benefit? What I think is lost is that we're under collective bargaining. We have unions in some instances, and I think we should do that. Where are the union employees? Where aren't the union employees? How do they stack up with benefits? Why are they being given more salary? Why are they being given more salary but less benefits? Less health benefits, less pension benefits, vacation time. Gail expressed a real concern about people that can retire, in her words, from the city and make $100,000 a year after retiring from the city. That grates on the public. I understand that. My response to Gail was, I want you to have those same opportunities in a private sector. I don't want this to be a race to the bottom. I want everybody to be raised. I wish you had a better salary. She said, I haven't had a raise in 5 years. Those are kind of questions that we're going to get from the public that we represent. So that's why it's so important from the city budget side that we have all these figures. Now, that's just a few of them, and I'm hoping you people will think of some others that the director can put together, and probably the director has them. You seem to be inclined more to an income tax than a property tax levy. I'm not sure we have, at least from what I've read, and I apologize, Mr. Chairman, I wasn't here the last time, but I'm not sure why that is. I'm not sure, I understand what Member Fisher said. It's more progressive. It seems to be a fairer way of going about it. But the fact of the matter is, the director can tell you, someone can, how many homes are actually owned, how many properties are owned by people in our city. The last percent that I heard, 60% are rental properties. That means, technically, that an increase in the property tax would not fall on the renters. It would fall on the owners. And they have to be careful in passing those increases on to the renters, because the renters won't rent. I mean, there is a competition for that. So if it's going to be paid by landlords, by and large, Do the landlords actually live in the city? I know, Member Babcock, you have some properties, and I appreciate that. And some of other members of council may too. But how many are landlords that don't even live in our community, who avail themselves of all the privileges of living in Canton and don't pay anything for the benefit of their renters? I mean, I think we should have an up-to-date figure on how many homes in our city, how many are there, first of all, how many are individually owned, and how many are landlord-owned, and where are those landlords? The mayor said, I think he shared this with you, Mr. Chairman, the mayor was somewhat inclined for a property tax because in bad times, in answer to Member Fisher, when people aren't working, generally real estate diminishes less than a person who lost their job. So, I mean, we went through something that was aberrant, I think, at least we hope, where the real estate market just collapsed. I mean, we haven't seen that since the Depression. But are we making a mistake in not at least knowing all the facts about a property versus income? And I'm not being critical of what you've done, and I hope you take it in the light that I'm taking. But I'm saying it because we're going to have to outsell it. I mean, we have to show, and I'm glad to hear that a large number of the public believes that we need this now. We do. We know we need it desperately. But those are some of the questions that we need to answer. On the income tax, how many workers do we have who pay income tax? What are the total revenues of businesses from our area, if we can get those? What effect, what effect would it have if we lost 5% of those businesses, 10% of those businesses? Then turning to safety and fire, which is what I think may be preferable in explaining to the public the critical nature of it, which is safety. What does it mean if we lose 90 police officers or firefighters? What does it actually mean on the ground? And maybe you've answered that, Mr. Chairman, and your committee has. I'm just saying, I'm throwing this out because if we lose this, we're in big trouble. And I think that's why we're here, and we all understand that. Plus, what I tried to say in this op-ed piece for the newspaper Sunday is, so many cities in our state have raised their income taxes or their property taxes, and they're reinvesting in their communities. They're reinvesting in infrastructure, which we desperately need, and I'm sure the director knows that, and would encourage that investment. And we need to rebuild our neighborhoods. We cannot do, and we haven't had a tax increase in 30 years. So, while all the rest of the cities in Ohio have raised their income taxes or property taxes, we're not only creating a safety problem, we're creating a problem where we have lousy infrastructure, we have terrible neighborhoods, which translate to bad schools and contracting population and people leaving, and the problems magnify themselves. If we have a renewal that is based upon the 21st century, then I think we're going to at least compete with the other cities. Because if it's, and this is the last thing I'll say, if I had a choice as a business owner between staying or going to a community that has a proper police force and a staffed fire department and has good schools, good neighborhoods, great infrastructure, is a 21st century city, as opposed to one in which the roads are crumbling, the infrastructure is crumbling, the schools stink, the neighborhoods are horrible, there's all sorts of bad homes, either bad homes or abandoned homes. Which am I going to go to? Where am I going? Well, I'm going to go to the 21st century, not the 20th century city. So these are just some of the questions that we should answer. And lastly, I do appreciate the fact we have to move quickly on this. I know that's your concern, Chairman. But at the same time, we have to move quickly. We have to make sure the public is invested in this. And Gail, for example, said, what do you want the public to do? Who do they contact? Do they contact you, Mr. Chairman? Do they contact the members of the Finance Committee? Do they contact me? Do they contact all of us? Should we have a public meeting where we invite the public down to actually express their opinions and repository obviously cover it, and the other media in the community. Those kinds of things I
I
feel.
can answer all this.
Okay, great. Then I'm done.